All right, so we're going to start on Psalm chapter 3. This is a psalm of David when he fled from his son Absalom. In verse 1 it says, Lord, how many foes increase? There are many who attack me. Many say about me, there is no help for him in God. And then verse 3 he says, but you, O Lord, are a shield around me. You're my glory and the one who lifts up my head. And I love verse 4. He says, I cry aloud to the Lord and he answers me from his holy mountain. He says, I lie down and sleep. I awake again because the Lord sustains me. I will not be afraid of thousands of people who have taken their stand against me on every side. And then he continues, but just there's a couple things that we can learn here. I love that he wept and he prayed. He wept and he sung. He wept and he believed, and he sowed so many tears in his affliction. And so if there's any of you that are afflicted, let him pray. And not just pray, let him sing psalms. Let him sing this psalm specifically. And if you're afflicted with disobedient children, even David was, and he says, I'm not going to let this hinder the joy that I have in the Lord. And he put his trust in the Lord. And I love this, that I want you to notice that David found in God three things just here that he mentions, or four really. He says safety, because he says, you are my shield. Then he mentions honor. He says, you are my glory. And then he says joy and deliverance. You are the lifter of my heads. So in the worst times, God's people can lift up their heads with joy, knowing that everything shall work out together for their good. And that when we get that, we're going to have a reason and a heart to rejoice. And then I want you to see when we go down into verse 8, he is just triumphant. His faith is just successful here because he began the psalm here with complaints, just talking about like the strength and the malice of his enemies. But then he ends up rejoicing in the power and the grace of God. He puts his focus back on God. And now he sees that there are more with him than against him, that if the Lord is with you, it doesn't matter how many people attack. Guess what he says in verse 8? He says, salvation belongs to the Lord. It don't matter how many people there are. There are thousands. Salvation belongs to the Lord. And so I'm going to leave you with these two truths that I believe David found here. The first one is his confidence and his comfort, right? It says here that salvation belongs to the Lord, that he has the power to save. It doesn't matter what danger you're in or how great the danger is. He builds his confidence in the fact that salvation belongs to the Lord. And then he builds his confidence and his comfort. He builds it on the fact that he says that his blessing is upon his people, that God's blessing is upon his people. He not only has the power to save them, but he's assured them, God has assured us in his word that he is good, that he is gracious, and his intentions are good towards his people. Comment below. I'd love to hear how the Lord is speaking to you.